Alright. Today is April the 18th, 2013. I'm here with Judge French and her law office. She is our audience. This is in reference to my capstone project that I started working on last year. It's in reference to the training needs for professionals in the juvenile justice system. I've had the chance to work with Judge French over these last few months. We had the chance, the pleasure of working with her in a professional setting. Basically, this project is geared towards training needs that we were able to uncover for the juvenile justice system, and especially those that it pertains to that work inside this justice system. You have to excuse me, my remote is running off, so I'm having to click one at a time. Alright, again, the project background. The 10th Judicial District Circuit Court Juvenile Division employs roughly 15 employees. They may be a little less, maybe a little bit more, that work in the Juvenile Division, including attorneys, caseworkers, social workers, mental health professionals. Only the probation officers, intake officers, recorders, and judge are paid directly from the district's budget. The other individuals work outside of the court system itself, such as they will have a lot of community service, such as Phoenix, they'll counseling, things like that. They work with the court system, but are not paid by the court system. So therefore, the money that they get paid is not brought out of their budget.
You want me to hit that when you need it? Or
sure, if you don't mind. If you don't mind. Even though many of the individuals in the juvenile division are educated individuals, there are many areas in which they lag. Major issue becomes the largest problem is overall training in the areas of psychology, community assessment, threats identification, and analogy. One area specifically that we were able to uncover that was the biggest area, and this came from surveying juveniles as well as individuals inside the system, was community assessment. One of the biggest things that the juveniles told me when I interviewed them, they don't feel like the intake officers and probation officers understand what it's like to be them. And it's impossible to know what it's like to be them, simply because we didn't grow up in the type of neighborhood they grew up in. We don't face the type of peer pressure that they face. We don't see the type of things that they see. Which is, again, one of the biggest issues. And as we all know, the biggest part of being in the juvenile system is trying to connect and rehabilitate these kids in order for us to prevent them from moving to a higher level, especially in the adult system. We don't want that. So again, this is an angle that we decided to go after to kind of help along the overall outcome of the system itself. All right. Again, project purpose to identify the areas of need, find outlets for filling these needs, providing a comprehensive guide to accomplishing set goals, address the cost of additional training, and show the potential results. Let me turn this down real quick. This area right here was pretty easy. You know, we talked to everyone. We found out where we might need to work on. This one was not even that bad either, because we were able to find different outlets, different ways to accomplish set goals. This one right here is the hardest part. Additional funding and additional cost, because this is one of those deals that everybody has to deal with. And it's not just unique here, but everybody has to deal with it. You know, like we spoke about before, everybody needs more money, and those who have money don't want to give it up. This right here is a predictor. This is not something that we can do that's going to be absolutely perfect. We don't know that it's going to happen in 7 years. The idea that it's going to be a 5 to 7 year goal that we can meet, that we can make some type of progress. Again, problem identified, areas of need. After interviewing the circuit judge, I did speak with you, the staff members as well as juveniles that were in the juvenile system. Several areas are areas of need. Juvenile psychology, community awareness, treatment options, and threats identification. Threats identification was something that I kind of actually stumbled across myself doing some research. And it's not something that we would say is directly a physical threat to you or to anyone in the justice system or in the juvenile system, but threats that the kids are facing. For example, I interviewed one boy who said that he used to walk home from school, and every day he walked home from school, he ran across the same group of boys, and the same group of boys would pick on him every single day. Now, as he got older, and these other boys got older, then their methods began to change. Now he wasn't getting picked on. They were screaming gang slurs at him. They were making innuendos towards him. They were commenting on what he was wearing. You're not wearing the right color. Who you claiming? Who you claiming? Then the threats began to change. Now this young man, he began to commit criminal acts just to show these boys that he was not someone to mess with. That was a threat that he had to endure that actually pushed him to the point of committing a criminal act. So that's something that hopefully we can identify whenever as time progresses. Treatment options, there are a plethora of treatment options. Unfortunately, most of them cost money that we don't have, which is the point of the project, to try to bring about some new ideas that might in fact give us a little more leeway and give us a little bit more reasoning for asking for this funding. Okay, finding outlets for the needed training. The Criminal Justice Institute of the University of Arkansas offers a wide range of classes and courses that will address the issues of juvenile law, gang recognition, threats identification. These guys, as long as you have enough people together, they'll teach a class anywhere, and it doesn't cost you anything. As long as you're sponsored by an agency such as the 10th Judicial District, they'll sponsor your class, they'll come down, and they don't require you pay them anything. And that's a lot of the way some of the police officers in the area get their training, and it gets those extra hours worth of training. Local and state mental professionals can also provide advanced training and learning to the staff members in the areas of juvenile psychology. And the reason that is because where do we send all of our juveniles? Delta Counseling, Arkansas Counseling. They're all sent to this very same area. A lot of our juveniles are psychologists. They have to deal with juveniles. So why not try to get them to show us something that we're missing? Get them to say, okay, this is what you need to look for. When you have a kid who's having to go through this kind of stuff at home, these are signs, because we deal with them every day. We see them, we look at them, we know what they're going through, or we see the aftermath of what they're going through. They're lashing out at us. And so he says, this is what you need to look for, and this is the reason you're looking for it. Maybe he's acting this way because he's lashing out at his parents. Maybe he's acting this way because maybe he's being abused at home, you know. And those are just some of the general ideas that he might be able to have. Local police authorities can provide training in areas of threats identification of drug and alcohol abuse. And the reason that is because we're out there on the streets with them every single day. We see them standing on the corners. We're the ones putting them on the hood, checking them out, getting guns off of them, the dope off of them. Community leaders can provide insight to the conditions that the juveniles live in. I believe Reverend Lattimore. He is I took a class with him, and he is a phenomenal speaker on gang recognition. The reason he knows is because he lives there, and he is with them every single day. And he is a phenomenal outlet. There are a lot of pastors that live in the area. They also can provide insight, because the pastors, in a lot of ways, are buffers between the community and these potential threats and problems. So they have to know all about it. And these pastors and community leaders have known these kids their whole life. And where they won't talk to me, and they may not talk to you, they will talk to them. And they will tell them, this is what I'm going through, and this is the problem that I'm facing. Can you help me? You know, and it's not seen as I'm going to the police at that point. kind of cool patterns.
No, I was getting dizzy.
That's my juvenile way of thinking. Bright, flashy, and lots of different patterns. Go ooh and ah. Providing a comprehensive guide to accomplishing these goals, identify the problem which you have, schedule training sessions to address the problem areas, allow staff members to demonstrate competencies in new time training and education, to adjust the budget to make room for additional training, and record the changes that result because of the advanced training. And that right there is the key, right there. These are those statistics that we were talking about that gives us that boost when we start asking the state for more money. We need more money. We want to bring in more programs because we want to decrease our caseload. That's the ultimate goal. But just like anything else, it costs money to do so, because this organization, just like many other state-run organizations, it is virtually impossible for us to turn our own profit. We can't. Our profit and our money comes from the state. It comes from other nonprofit organizations, charities, and things of that nature. So in order for us to get this money, because everybody in the state is looking for the same money we are, we have to show them why we need it more than they do. And the only way to do that is to provide the statistics to prove it. The additional cost of training, that was a kind of a hit or miss type situation. The biggest thing is, because you're just like everyone else, you're short-handed, just like we are. You don't necessarily have the ability to say, okay, everybody go load up in a van and take off to Little Rock and spend a week up there. So you have to try to figure out ways to bring the training in-house. CJI is a great way of doing it. Sometimes they'll come right where you are. Sometimes they'll come within 30 minutes. And that was this one here. Find locations that were within 30 minutes drive. Coordinate with the Criminal Justice Institute to present courses online. They do have a lot of those online. Matter of fact, I just took a course with them on methamphetamine that was online. And if I'm not mistaken, they have a course on juvenile law online. All you have to do is sign up, take it, and you get course credit for it, and they send you a certificate in the mail that states that you have taken it.
That's good.
And again, that goes back to the in-house or within close proximity of your area. Saves money, plus it's free. And you can use the training that you get to justify why you need more money in the future. Okay? As with any project, there's a need to show the issues that were addressed, provide positive results. In the case if positive results are recorded, then the 10th Judicial District is justified in asking the state and private lenders for additional funds in the future. Again, that goes back to the whole, we got to prove why we need more money and we can get more money. Is this a 100% guarantee? No. I mean, everybody knows that just because you can prove why you need the money, they're going to give it to you, and that's not really the case. Sometimes you prove you need the money, and they say, well, we need more proof. They proved it better than you, so we're going to give the money to them and try again next year. But that's okay, because we come back next year with better results than we had the year before, because we're incorporating the new stuff that we were able to learn and say, okay, and this is why we need it more than they do this year. Okay, they got it last year, we want it this year, and this is why we need it more than they do. So, and again, this is one of the more difficult things to predict, because there's really no way that you can predict what will happen 7 years down the line. It's just a hopeful deal. CJI, where do we find the advanced training? Again, CJI, they offer various training, classroom settings, as well as practical hands-on exercises. They offer several classes online that can be taken in an informal atmosphere. They can take it sitting at their office. In-house or local in-house speakers, local speakers such as law enforcement officers that specialize in certain areas like gang enforcement, drug abuse. I worked with a guy in El Dorado. He was the head of the vice unit, and he knows everything there is to know about gangs. Hybrid gangs like Reverend Lattimore spoke of, traditional gangs, white supremacists, Mexican or Hispanic gangs are on the rise. They are actually gaining ground, and they are getting larger. Matter of fact, I believe the courthouse over here was vandalized with Mexican mafia. We have to treat that as what it is, and it's a threat. It's a threat to everyone. Again, you can tap into Delta Counseling Case Brings. You know, a lot of those guys, you know, local pastors are a huge source of information because these guys actually want to improve their community because they have to live there and they see the decline, how bad it's gotten. Internal surveys of juveniles currently within the juvenile system, that is also a big piece of not just information that you can train by, but just information you can use for the kids. You know, sitting down and saying, hey, let me ask you 5 questions. What is your home life like? What time does your mom get home in the afternoon? Do you eat dinner with your mother? Does your father live at home? Do you have any contact with your father? Just simple questions like that to gain some insight on those kids to help them in this process. And that way we can learn, well, okay, we need to improve our training because this is the feedback. Basically, the juveniles who we're here to protect and we're here to serve, they are our focus group. That's where we get the tools we need to improve. The court system has approximately, and this is a rough number, again, this was a number that we put together, around 350 juveniles in the whole of the juvenile court. Maybe less, maybe more, I'm not sure. And I'd say around 100 of those are in D-Shake County. Because I do know that, like I said, I spoke with Damien. He's got 62 probationers that he's dealing with.
780.
780 total in the 10th Judicial District. So I was actually way off. So this number right here needs to be multiplied by at least one more to get close. So you can see the overload here. I mean, it is massive. When 15 staff members directly employed, other indirectly assist with maintaining counseling and processing of these juveniles. Other 15 employees, and I got my calculations right. There's 1 intake officer, 1 probation officer per county. So there's 5 counties in the 10th Judicial District. So there's 5 probation officers, and I believe there's 5 intake officers, correct? And then the rest make up attorneys and counselors and recorders, things that work directly for the courts. So that's a huge number for a very, very small number of individuals to have to deal with. And what makes this worse is these are kids we're dealing with. It's not even like they're adults. You have to approach them on a whole new level, which is one of the biggest issues that we face inside of this system. So, again, these are rough estimates. Again, you see your biggest number right here is repeat offenders. That is the largest number. Now, if we was to take and go 5 years down the line, this is our goal right here. Now, this is a very, very large goal. To bring it down more than 30%, that is a large goal. Is it doable? In a perfect world, yes. Is it doable in this world? Maybe not as much. But I've always said, or I've always been told, you want to shoot for the moon. If you want to reach the stars, at least shoot for the moon. Again, boys make up a vast majority of all your offenders. Girls make up a smaller amount. Most of your girls are status offenders. They run away from home, they skip school, they're not going to school at all. Curfew violations, things of that nature. Your violent offenders, your thieves, your assaults, that's all mostly on your boys. But again, your repeat offenders make up most. What we would like to do is in the next few years start seeing a decline in your repeat offenders. And the way we do that is we start washing them out of the system, not in a way that they're not gaining anything from them, but we're able to successfully close their cases and say, okay, you are no longer in need of our services. Go out into the world and make it a better place. Because the great thing about this, if we decrease these numbers here, over here in the adult system, we decrease those numbers because these kids right here, these here in the gray, these are the ones that we'll be seeing again in front of circuit judges and getting ready to go to the penitentiary. And that's the cruel hard facts about this. The average caseload for probation officers between 50 and 100 juveniles. Probation officers are responsible for providing guidance, making sure juveniles adhere to the rules, conditions of their probation, which in itself is hard enough to do as it is, because most of them don't want to listen. Take officers cover the entire county and are responsible for attending schools to ensure the juveniles are staying within the rules and laws. Basically, in a crude way of saying so, intake officers are the pit bulls of the court system. They're making sure that these kids are acting right, even the ones that are not on probation. So in a way, with 50 to 100 juveniles that these guys are worried about, how many thousands are these worried about? And every day a bad kid can have a bad day. Every single day of the week a kid can have a bad day. And then that's where this person has to step in and say, let's take a step back here and let's see what we're doing wrong so we don't end up with this guy right here. Oh, that one's good. Due to being understaffed, which that's not something unique here, that's universal. Everybody's understaffed, everybody needs more. Must find alternate methods of deterring to repeat offenders, according to officials. To justify asking for more money, to add staff, or more programs, there must be an improvement in the number of repeat offenders and overall offenders. Again, like we talked about before, in order to ask or justify asking for more money, you have to prove that you need it more than the guy next to you, because at the beginning of the year you got bukus of grants being sent up and requests sent up to Little Rock and to anyone else who gives grants out, and you got to look better than they do. And that's how you do it. You prove that you need it more than they do. The hypothesis is the court staff, if the court staff, that's supposed to be can improve their methods through advanced training, and then the overall effectiveness of the court system will improve, then by default, the overall number of offenders and repeat offenders will improve. That's a big hypothesis. It's very general. Is it possible? Yes. It's kind of like a football team. If a football team wants to win more games, they have to practice better, they have to learn more, and they have to try harder. The only difference is it's not just a matter of going out on the field and just making it happen. You got to use different techniques, because you're not just dealing with yourself, you're dealing with other kids and you're dealing with other people. So that is the hypothesis. That is what we intend to test and to hopefully come about with the appropriate answers that will help us in the future. Each staff member needs between 60 and 100 hours of additional training in the fields that were previously mentioned. The desired effect for additional training will decrease the number of offenders in the court system by 30%, and by 2017, that is a massive number. And again, we're shooting for the stars here. Why not try to be the best while we're looking for it? 60 and 100, that looks like a lot, but when you're talking about a class where you get anywhere between 8 to 10 hours of training in one sitting, that's 6 classes that can be taken year-round. And if you can get them to come in-house and do a 3-day course, you get 48 hours worth of training right there on the spot. You're already halfway there. And with the additional training you can do in-house with your local speakers, and when you're doing your online courses, you could probably exceed this within a year and a half. It's very possible. We have to do it as police officers all the time. We have to have a certain allotted amount of training, and a lot of the training we get, it comes from in-house. And we look for those different avenues. So it is possible. It's a big number, but it is possible. And again, this is a massive number. 30% of 780, that's huge. It would be beautiful. But it's just something that we would want to shoot for. Again, this is a graph that shows the rate of current offenders. At 100% where they are right now, 780 offenders. Within 5 to 7 years, get them right down here between the 70 and 80 percentile mark. That brings us to around 30, 35%, somewhere around there. This is where we're sitting right here, this green line. This is the constant. This is every day. This is what you'll expect 5 years from now. It'll go up, it'll go down, it'll go, one way or another. But this is the desired path right here. This is what we're hoping to accomplish with improving and increasing the number of training hours that we can provide our officers and our juvenile intake officers with. All right, the conclusion. Again, the desired results is to drop the number of offenders in the court system by 30%. That's a desired result. We would take any. We would take any. Which would approximately translate between 70 and 80 cases being closed. Being closed means they no longer need our services. They're no longer offends, they're no longer a probationer, they're no longer anything of that nature. They are done, they are good. The overall hope, again, is to improve the numbers. So more funding can be requested to pay more staff members, again, to add more programs that would aid in furthering our goals to decrease the number of kids in the system. This would be done in hopes by maintaining current staff members. We want to keep them here as long as we can. We spoke about employee retention. That's just the way it is. I mean, you get them, you lose them. This would prevent you from retraining. And I know you and I spoke about this right here, and this is something that is a problem that everybody faces. You hire one, they may be great. You get them trained, and they're gone, and now you have to start all over again. You stay back here when you want to be up here, and you should be up here, but the reason you're back here is because this guy leaves here, so you have to go back here and start over here. And again, this would prevent having to retrain staff members when veteran staff members probably leave in search of better opportunities or for whatever reason they leave, whether it be they're moving to a new city or they just, whatever the case may be. And continue by reducing the number of repeat offenders. And this is what all this is for. This is everything that is, in general, this is why we're doing this, is to decrease the number of repeat offenders and overall offenders in the juvenile system. Then by default, we will decrease the number of adult systems, the number of people that go into the adult system. I spoke with one of the probation officers about this. A guy asked me, why didn't you do something more circular around law enforcement? And that's an easy answer for me, because I believe in the juvenile system. And I still to this day believe that the juvenile system, the court system, is the most important. Because in order to stop them from getting to where I'm at, they must be stopped right here in this system. So that's why this, and I still believe in it. I still believe that these kids have every opportunity to get better and to do better. And that's why I chose this topic, because I actually believe that this is the best system there is out of everybody. The adult system and the juvenile system, this is the most important. That's why I wanted to do it on this, because I do believe that if we can fix them now, we don't have to worry about trying to fix them later when they are already set in their ways. So, any questions on this or anything?
Very impressed.
Well, thank you very much. I do, and I want to say that I do appreciate the opportunity to work with you and your staff members, and I do hope that I get to continue to do so on a professional level. And I would love to see some of these things move into action. I'd love to be able to help incorporate some of these things.
Well, you gave me some ideas.
And that
The
was
CJI, the online, them coming to us. I was totally unaware of that.
Right, and
So
these classes, these classes are open to anyone that is sponsored by the court system, law enforcement, anything of that nature. And like I said, in a lot of these classes, they count as college credits. So it's just something to look forward to.
That's awesome, because I can't pay mileage. We have no money for mileage. So
No.
I can't pay everyone to go to classes out of town.
That is the best part, because
So
if
that's
you get
awesome.
enough staff members together and you sponsor a class, juvenile law, psychology, whatever the case may be, they are constantly putting new stuff in there. They'll come here. They'll set up right there in the courtroom. They'll set up over here in the district courtroom. They'll set up wherever we need them to, and they'll put on a class. As a matter of fact, we're trying to get a class together for the first of the year. First of the year, it's going to be response to an active shooter with our SRO. Going to be CJI in. They're going to head that up for us, and we want everyone that's involved with the school there. Intake officers, probation officers, police officers,
Good.
SROs.
Let us know. We'll be there.
Everybody. But that's the beautiful part of it.
Great.
Anyway,
Awesome. Very good.
thank you very much.
Very impressed.